Good morning, everybody. It's Troy here at Microvella's Cameras with another video for you today with some, photo tidbits and stuff here from the store. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about all the film customers that we have here, and sort of a new trend in the modern era is to shoot film and then have it processed and just scan it and show so people can share their pictures online and things like that. And so it sort of got me wondering, if people aren't getting prints made and they're only sharing things digital, well, I feel like they're missing out a little bit. And so today I did just want to sort of encourage people to think about whether or not they should maybe make a photo book or something here. Photo books are a great way to show off your work. Two, the creation of the photo books, it forces you to think about your work. It forces you to be critical, to be selective, to sort of really think through your work and what is the strongest bits of it. And maybe just, it forces you to pull things together, and that's really kind of neat. So I just wanted to show you a couple of photo books from my collection that I think are pretty special, and maybe you want to think about while you've put together your own photo book. If any of you do out there create some photo books of your own, I've used blurb.com in the past, and I think they work pretty well for that. I think Blurb is the main one I know, but there are other services out there online as well. So, search it online and make yourself a photo book. So, the books that I have for you today. The first one is probably I've had in my collection now over 20 years or so. It's by a guy named Woody Walters, and he was this landscape photographer down in Florida. I met him at an art fair years ago. It was pretty cool because I loved his work. There was no way in heck I could afford his prints, but I could afford his book. And so it was kind of neat because he did sign that for me at the time. I got this just when I was a young photographer. He wrote, "Keep shooting, Troy." So that's pretty neat. What makes Woody's work so special is that he is, like I said, works down in Florida and makes amazing landscape photography. So if you like classic landscape photography in the tradition of Ansel Adams and that sort of company, look up the landscape photography of Woody Walters. There's some astonishing, beautiful images. Besides all the landscapes, he does do some, I'd call it, sort of cultural portraits and things like that as well. It's obvious that, he is invested in Florida, he loves Florida, and he's trying to show it in a really unique way. Unique and classic way. So that is Visions of Florida from Woody Walters. That's a pretty cool one. Now, from a more local level, I also have this black book. If you can see it reflecting there, the title is on there. This was a really unique creation from local photographer Jessica Kaminski. She's pretty damn cool. She's very, very talented, and she's very passionate about what she does. And so years ago, as a self-promotional piece, she created this, the MKE Beard Book, as a piece, beautifully produced piece, to show off her photography, and especially to show off her photography of guys with beards. So it's kind of a neat creation. It's just a cool passion project that she made, and it's just kind of fun. If you can find a copy of it, it's definitely worth checking out. Again, that's Jessica Kaminski with the MKE Beard Book. Look that one up. The next one is a book that I made. It was a book that I made back in 2012. There was a gallery here in Milwaukee called the Milwaukee Portrait Society, I believe is the name. Milwaukee Portrait Society, Portrait Gallery, something like that. Anyway, they had a juried photo show where it was a photo book show, and you had to actually submit, instead of submitting your photographs, you had to submit a book. So you had to go online, create a photo book, and submit that. And so what I submitted was my little book. That was then. This is 2011. So an abbreviated journal of a year. So it was a really cool project for me to have to go through, sort of specify a limit to my pictures. I was only going to be showing pictures from 2011. So it was a neat exercise to go through all my negatives at the time and, find things that I wanted to share. 2011 was kind of a big year for me, and so it was cool to sort of look through my negatives, review my year, and figure out what I wanted to share from there. It was really pretty cool. So make your own book if you can. And then the final book for the day that I want to share is one that I've been talking up on our social media lately, and that is Love in the 90s. Love in the 90s, BB and Joe, the story of lifelong love. This is a fantastic book. Fantastic book by the photographer Carrie Pickett, who, what is it, in like the mid-90s, I believe it was, got this book published. It's an amazing project that she pulled together, wherein she photographed her grandparents. Let me see here. Photographed her grandparents who were in their 90s at the time and just sort of documented them in sort of a documentary type fashion, making pictures of their day-to-day life together and things like that. And then juxtaposed those photographs with the love letters that the BB and Joe wrote to each other when they were courting. And this is just fantastic because this is a couple who, when they were getting to know one another, when they were beginning to fall for one another, it was back in the late 1920s, 1928, 1929 to be exact. And reading these letters is just so darn good, and honestly makes us all want to try better. And I would say even too makes us need to write more love letters of our own. Maybe you want to write a love letter to a friend or to your partner or whoever, but maybe just make a point sometime in the near future, let's say, to sit your butt down and write a love letter to somebody. Write a short letter to somebody who you appreciate and tell them how much you appreciate them. Maybe tell them a little bit about your day, whatever you like. But do that because it's pretty awesome. These letters are just great, and the endearments that they write to one another. My dearest BB, my very own sweetheart, my first love, my own JoJo. It's just amazing. For instance, here is just one from Joe to BB. December 31st, 1928. My own lover. Last night, I wanted you as badly as I've ever wanted anything in all my life. As I sat by the fire, with your picture in my hand, how I wished that instead of only a likeness of you, it was the real you into whose eyes I could look. Honey, how much do you love your JoJo? She loves you much more than she is able to tell. Night, night, Joe. These letters are amazing. And the pictures are beautiful as well. So if you can find Carrie Pickett's Love in the 90s, find it. Find it and read it and learn something from it. Okay, that is our books for the day. Now for some quick used pieces because, hey, this is business here too. We have got in stock a pair of Canon 6D bodies, full-frame DSLR bodies. Those are going for, I believe, around, was it 625 a piece. But more specifically here, we've got the very sort of exotic and beautiful 11 to 24 f4 super wide lens. I got to try this out just recently, and it is astonishing and amazing, and truly there's no other lens out there like it. That lens is selling for $2,200, and it is beautiful. So if you do interior photography, architectural photography, landscape photography, and shoot Canon DSLRs, you really should consider this. For our film photographer friends out there, we just got in another Olympus OM1 classic film camera. This Olympus OM1 with 50mm 1.4, with the 51.4, is going for just $150. That is a steal. Along with that body too, we got a couple of lenses for the OM system that I haven't seen lately. A beautiful short prime telephoto, a 100 2.8, beautiful little portrait lens there. And then finally, also we got the wide angle 24mm 2.8, and that is going for $140. So a lot of great stuff in used right now. Also, if you haven't heard about it already, we are selling lomography film, so we've got that in color and in black and white in here in 120 and 35mm. So if you've been wanting to try out the lomography films, we have a couple emulsions here for your consideration.